Welcome to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. Jimmy is a veteran U.S. Navy SEAL, a former protective officer for the CIA Global Response Staff, founder and CEO of the Able Shepherd Program, a husband and father of four, and a personal friend of mine. Now here's Jimmy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. I'm your host, Jimmy Graham. BK, what's up, brother? We have a special guest, finally!
The man.
Perry Saul. What number are you?
40.
040. Able Shepherd 040. This has been a long, I can't believe we haven't done this.
I know. Yeah.
Right?
This is the original, the OGs.
The OGs. Like there are Able Shepherds everywhere just clapping
I know.
and singing right now because of tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Some of the newer Able Shepherds, I'm talking to them, and they go, "Oh my God, I'm this." And I so don't want them to ask me, "What Able Shepherd number are you?"
Please ask me.
Because that's going to start a conversation. They go, "You're 40?
Zero?
Like 40? 400? 40? Yeah, 40.
40.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Many moon ago.
And then, many moons ago. And then all of a sudden, this respect comes up. 40? What?
Yeah.
And you get to gather them around the campfire and tell them stories of Able Shepherd at like inception, right?
We make fire.
Like the old days. When Chad Davies, what's up, brother? He always reminds me of hard cards. When I'm like, man, I can't believe this new system and this and that. And he goes, remember hard cards? Like from the military, I had this idea of a hard card. Like each person would have this thing and you would check off their stuff and sign off on it. What? Like what? Like that's when there were just a few people and you just had to see, hey, this guy has this skill set and this skill set, and now it's coin and tan patch, green patch, black patch, endorsements, patrol, breach or overwatch. It's insane.
How many different versions of coin?
That's right. Do you have them all?
Plank owners.
Yeah,
Do you have them all?
We have
That's
plank.
right. Do you remember mobility, the driving course? Oh my, what a pain in the, I don't believe we'll do that again. I would do it again, but I won't do the logistics of the cars. Like I'd rather farm out defensive driving to somebody else, coordinate with them, and then give their endorsement for mobility. But it was fun.
It was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was very. That brought back a memory where I'm watching, and it just looks like such a blast. And I got Jimmy, you're doing it. You're gonna take us through it the first time, get us in there. And for some reason, I'm in the back seat, and whoever was going first, it was my turn. I get up there. He goes, "All right, you ready for this, Perry?" I said, "Yeah, I'm ready." He says, "You a little nervous?" I said, I wasn't up until just now.
Now that you're asking me.
Yeah. That was just like, floor it. Just floor this thing. Go,
In
go,
reverse.
Go. Yeah. Spin it. Any forward gear.
So awesome. So remember when Gail, she whips it around and just closes her eyes and she's done.
Right.
So I'm on the passenger side and I'm whipping the wheel and yanking it into drive and she's not even hitting the gas.
Right.
Eyes closed. Right. Awesome. So just good stuff. So it's been a minute, so we're playing catch up. You, because of the man you are, went off to Miami, take care of family.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that, brother. Glad we got you back, but it's been a minute since the ride, so we were just kind of walking through it. It was too good to just pass up. Yeah, so we got to go back.
This was a good one.
So we get to explain to our brother what that was. Like it was so good. I've been talking about it to many, many people, but let's just air it out.
And the ride being the Utah BDR.
The Utah BDR. So BDR's Backcountry Discovery Route. You'll learn more at ridebdr.com. Is that right? I think that's right. Ridebdr.com. You'll look up the routes. We've done, let's see, California, Colorado, New Mexico, Wyoming, Utah. So this is number 5. Right? Of the long ones, you've heard us talk about an ITB. We did one with kids, which was phenomenal. Like that's the one we already did, and we already talked about the podcast. But that one was with kids. That was that wouldn't be a BDR because it really wasn't. They've got certain nomenclature and certain laws where you got to be legal on the roads. So we did one for the kids called ITB, Intro to Backcountry. So it's prepping them of this whole BDR thing that's become so just near and dear to this community, right? What they do is they just go through and do all the labor. Like they map it out, they find the route. These are all pre-existing routes. They put them together and you can get a waterproof map showing you where the route is, where to get gas, some of the stuff you want to see. This is expert, so be careful. This one, if you want to go around, there's workarounds and all that stuff, but they just put a lot into it, and they're fantastic. So checking them out. They don't necessarily, they're made for the adventure motorcycle community. You don't really need to. You could jump in a Jeep or your truck or whatever and go see parts of the country that will just blow your mind. So they're absolutely amazing. So without further ado, you started before I did. I got delayed. I felt called. This has been on the books for a while. We've defended it, but I felt called to stay and then pick a fight, right? And to just stand for children, right? So that did interfere with the launch date, but it was, people we were talking about it, and then it got more involved. I felt called to do something, and then it didn't feel right leaving, right? It's like, I can't tell people how to do this. I need to show them. So I stayed. My nephew Lance, 18 years old, decided to stay. Uncle Jim, can I stay with you for that? I'm like, this is big boy stuff. People yelling at your face, throwing stuff, whatever. Yeah, of course you can, So he stays with me, and I appreciate doing that with him. And you guys hit the road first. So talk me through that.
It's kind of a blur.
Yeah.
It worked out well because we had Everett.
Yeah.
Everett is a natural born leader. So
like a Swiss Army knife.
It's amazing. I mean, there's a Swiss Army knife and JB Weld.
Yeah.
And a map, and he can go anywhere.
Yeah.
And he's got everything. And we had 2 support trucks. We had my Raptor.
Yes.
And then we had Eric.
Yep.
In the Tacoma, listed Tacoma. Yep.
In the Tacoma, which did remarkably well. I was very surprised.
Yeah. With Shelly.
With Shelly. Shelly even went, she did real well on there. So we took off, where did we meet up even?
You guys went to Durango, so
Southwestern
that's the
Colorado,
part that we missed. Is you guys went to the Durango area,
Right.
if memory serves, and we were just looking at the schedule because we make up schedules for all these, put a lot of work into them.
How many miles were on that first little leg?
350.
Right. Okay, that's what I remember. It was really long.
Yep.
And we stopped quite a bit, which annoyed some of the people because they wanted to get there. And when a whole bunch of people stop, get gas, use the restroom, whatever it is, they can stay there a while. So we had little
Really
masters,
stretches the
little
day.
masters.
It's an interesting balance where you need to get off the bike once an hour.
Yeah.
Just the saddle gets a little sore.
Sure.
But once you're out of that saddle, the 45-minute gas station fill-up and beef jerky chew,
Right.
no.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
get this down to 10 minutes. Never
And then people are going, we got to go.
Yeah.
Look at the watch.
It's funny because just even that. So when the big ride, I always say the big ride, 12,000 mile motorcycle ride that I did, with some SEAL buddies to honor a fallen SEAL. A movie about it called Ride for Lance. Check it out. It's on Amazon Prime. People are like, you were in a movie? I don't even think about that, but they're like, yeah, it started in a movie. It was a documentary of sorts to honor a buddy, but it was a 12,000 mile, 31-day motorcycle ride. And it's an art, like when you go out there and spend that much time with human beings, people get annoying. It gets real. You're not comfortable, you're cold, wet, and miserable, and then true colors start showing up really, really quick, right? And there is this let's speed up so we can have a steak dinner and get some sleep. But then you got the other people, well, hey, man, I'm missing all the scenery, so we're going way too fast. So it's like, hey, which is it, guys? What are we doing here? So we got places to be. And on that one, I was pretty militant on that one. I'm like, we will not miss a checkpoint, period. I got people waiting on us. So at some point, there were hundreds of people waiting on us to do some kind of memorial kind of event. I'm like, we will not be late. So I probably wasn't a lot of fun on that one. But we started getting our times down to where the ladies would get ready and be like, all right, this is a 10-minute stop. And I mean, literally like the gas card goes in, and bike comes up and fill it up, next bike, and then go in and get all your little, chewy crunchies and all that stuff. And then it's like 30 seconds and we're wheels up and it's moving because this isn't that stop. Now there's those other stops. This is lunch stop. This is a 30-minute stop or whatever. But we were like, man, if we don't stretch this out, if we stretch this out, man, we're not going to get home. We don't want to get dangerous and riding where there's wildlife on mountain roads at night, on that particular ride because it was 31 days. So it is. And you guys, you probably heard this. I got a buddy, his call sign's Duck. He would go all over the world and ride by himself. Yep. And when I told him that I was going on that big one with people, he just laughed. Nope. And I'm like, what are you laughing? Because you'll see. I ride alone. And at first I was like, that's kind of cool, kind of that Renegade, that TV show where you're on your Harley and yours, whatever. But he doesn't get to share his stories with anybody. Right. And he doesn't get to work through that human factor, right?
And I think setting up this episode, the working together, helping each other, take care of one another, you will not believe what you're going to hear.
That's
We haven't even gotten to the first checkpoint.
Right. This one was chaotic. And when I explain it to people, they're like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, in a word, amazing. Right. It was amazing.
So you got to Durango safely?
Yeah, no. I think that first leg, we put a lot of miles on, and we got there. We got set up, and that was that first magnificent overview where, is that the one that Everett said was the beginning of?
Yeah. So that was Muley Point.
Yeah, Muley Point.
I mean, overlooking up there, you know, you're literally on a rock's edge everywhere, and it's just a huge, almost mini Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And this is Four Corners area, starting in the southern tip of Utah.
Yeah.
Dropping into what I'm picturing red desert and rivers and
It's rock, and you're up on top of all the rock.
It was magnificent.
Yeah.
And as the sun was setting, everything would change colors into these bright oranges and dark pinks, and it was like, whoa, wow, good job.
So you guys, I forget, did you hotel it or did you camp?
We camped.
The first night. Okay, I mean, before you got there in Durango.
at the end of day one, 350 miles.
350
highway.
miles, camping, snow slide campground. So it looks like a paid campground with fees, no reservations needed. Okay, so that was your first
It was camping. It was just a campground.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So
How
it was.
did REI do before this trip? Because before the California trip, I think the local REI set a sales record or something.
I didn't even bring 20% of what I had on the California BDR.
So Barry, I should go with you on one of these because I just want to film it. Like, 'cause he goes in, and you quickly assign a Sherpa to hold a bag, and he just points at stuff, and you buy it. Like that's like.
Well, there's a little background here. I'm kind of East Coast. I'm New York. I'm New York, Miami. We don't camp. You know, the closest thing I came to camping was Penny and I on a vacation would rent a 40-foot motorhome, big Winnebago. That's got a living room, a kitchen, a shower, a bedroom with the kids. We took our time. You stop. That was camping. I'm at a point now where I can jump out of my truck, be set up in my tent, have everything laid out, and actually even, I don't know how to say it, but have bodily functions in woods where that would never be. I'm going to drive back to Denver. I'll hold it till Denver before something happens here. And these guys.
Remember the shakeout ride? Was what one was that?
That was before at the very beginning.
To California?
It was freezing.
Yeah. It was cold.
Yeah.
We were doing a shakeout ride to check out all the gear and all that stuff. You know, you get stuffed under your truck, stuffed under your bike, you're packing, you're doing all that stuff, and you go out there and you meet the guys. And that was actually when I first met Reggie and Elliot. Yeah. So that would have been before California. Yeah, so right before California.
I think it was.
And I just remember we're freezing, and it's out there, and you got the right gear or whatever, but it wasn't a long campfire because you're like, man, it's cold, so you go to bed. And then I'm laying there, and I don't even know what time it was in the morning, and I hear, his Raptor starts, and I hear the exhaust, and we're at a campground, and there's people sleeping, and he's in there with the heater on, and there's like smoke coming out, it's so warm.
I'm in a tent. And I did have everything that was comfortable. I had a great sleeping bag, had a pad, a blow-up mattress in there. The whole thing was rigged out. The pillows, everything was great in there. But it was like 30 degrees.
You just didn't have the thermostat.
Right.
Yeah, where's the heater? You know, we got to warm this thing up. Can I start a fire in here? Does that actually happen? This little sterno thing? And I'm looking. I see. I've got a truck right there. I'm looking right at it. It's got a really good heater. Got heated seats. I'm going in the truck.
So funny. So we get out to Muley Point. Lance and I, we spend the day. It's fantastic. We're not really pushing it super hard. We leave really early in the morning. We stop. We have lunch. We stop again. You know, we're gassing up, and we're making pretty good time.
And weather's good.
Weather's good. Weather's fantastic. I mean, it's beautiful. I got new tires on the bike. You know, they're the knobbies, but the knobbies, you know, the composition is so good. Those things really grab the road, but then they're really effective off-road, you know. So we get out there, and he's just he's a good rider. He's 18, but he has been riding like his whole life, right? So he throws those big bikes around like they're nothing. He's got a Yamaha 1200 Tenere.
He's also, 6'2"?
Something. He's tall.
Yeah, and he's young, 18
I'm
years
guessing
old.
6'6". Yeah. He's a great young man.
And have you guys caught up with the rest of the team yet, or were you still chasing?
So there at Muley Point, that's where we had a point. We had a grid coordinate, and we drive right up to it. A couple different spots where it could have been, and then we round the corner, we see the familiar vehicles, and then we roll in and, you know, start debriefing everybody on the event that I stood at and all that kind of stuff. And I said, if we're not in jail, then I'll see you there. Yeah, we'll be there. And we made it. So
stick to the plan.
So stick to the plan, right? So that was awesome. We slept well, got up in the morning, took off, and then started heading for the mountains west of Monticello. So when you start getting up that direction, you start getting into the desert, the high desert, heading towards Moab, that kind of stuff. So picture that, absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. We're heading into that, and that's where, let's see, I'll jump ahead a little bit. So that was Monday, Tuesday, that time frame. And you get, with the BDR, the maps, they show you where, hey, this is good, this is hard, and they call it expert only. And some of the expert onlys are like, yeah, that was pretty challenging. Man, this is as far as expert only, this takes the cake because we went.
Double black diamond.
Oh yeah,
this was hard.
It surprised me. It was a motorcycle route, right? And if you're on a big bike like that, so just in the context, from the big ride, from the Lance ride that was 12,000 miles, we got sponsored by Toyota, we got sponsored by BMW. We rode our 1200 GSs for 3 days. Me and my SEAL buddies. I'm sorry, for 3 days, for 31 days, 3 bikes, loaned them to us for 2 months. Preparation time, 31-day trip, and then kind of shake out and all that kind of stuff. And they said, hey, you've represented BMW, you did all this stuff. We'll give you that bike at cost. So I bought that thing at a great deal. That's been my bike, an 09 GS. It's a big bike. It's got boxer engine, which means the cylinders move sideways. It's a big bike, right? For me, at my skill level, it's a lot of bike. So I know when to tap out and say, that's too much. So I didn't go. I went the other route, the other guys. Had a beautiful ride, a great ride. The destination of the night, we're jumping one day, but just good riding in between there. But then we're heading to 3-Step Hideaway. Right. So 3-Step Hideaway, amazing folks. Man, is it Scott? What's his name? Dang it. Should look that up. It's on here.
Well, that's when we refilled the water container in the back of the truck.
There? With them?
Yeah, because they had a well. Yes.
But as soon as we pull up, there's no cell phone coverage. We pull in and immediately they're handing me a cell phone. It's like, hey, I've got a special thing. This is my phone. You got 2 bikes down hard in Moab. I'm like, uh-oh, what happens now? So I've got Melissa. She's all the way back in Denver. And she has been talking through Mark's sat phone, had made a call saying, hey, we got 2 bikes and down. 1 bike, actually. So we heard 1 bike. The word that I got, and I don't know where the miscommunication came, was it was a chain issue. So Elliot starts pulling out. It's amazing what people have. We've had enough issues to where people have some stuff, and he's like, hey man, I got a master link. I got this. If it's a chain thing, we can do all this. He gives me a chain tool. He gives me the master link, all this other stuff. So we're just trying to think, take a breath. What can we do?
And we historically have repaired many bikes.
Yeah. Right on the side, like an Everett, pulling all the plastic off, using JB Weld to fix my,
zip ties and Weld, duct tape.
Yeah. So I've got oil pumping out of the side of my bike, and literally, hey, well, what do we need to get the oil off because it won't grab. So now we're using
wipes.
We're using wipes. We're using hand sanitizer to dry off the oil. Mm-hmm. We're roughing the paint, and then we're putting on JB Weld, activating 2 chemicals, putting it on and it lasts for a year. You know what I mean? It lasted for until I decided to switch it out. It was it finished that ride.
You did finally switch it out.
I finally switched it out. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to be in the middle of the, the next ride. So anyways, as soon as we pull up, they tell us, this amazing couple that runs 3-Step, you got a problem?
He looked worried.
And he just starts snapping into action.
Yeah,
he's like, okay, guys, I got to grab my trailer.
Yeah.
Head into Moab. They're going to meet here. I got a trailer back here. So we just met the dude. He's got a utility trailer, probably I'm guessing a 6x10. Uh-huh. We unload a lot of gear, hook that up, and then me and you take off. So I never saw my room. I never saw anything. We didn't eat. It's just go.
Nope.
So this is 5-6 o'clock at night. It's dinner time.
No, it's earlier.
It's still early.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had light for quite a while.
Yeah, so we head off for an hour into the town of Moab, and then get cell service again, and we start getting bits and pieces. And what we hear is 2 bikes down, but there's nothing really we can do, and you're not going to make it, kind of thing. We're like, oh man. So we get in there, and they say, hey, Melissa's like, I'm gonna launch a recovery service. She's like, I got to hold off, but now night's coming. The guys, in order to ride in that rough a terrain, they pulled off their saddlebags because you get much better handling out of your motorcycle when you don't have 2 weeks worth of gear, right? You got 9 days worth of gear on there. It's just different characteristics of it changes, the characteristics of the bike. So anyways, we're like, how are we gonna, those guys are out there in the desert at night with no water, not a lot of water, and none of their stuff. So now what happens?
We're bringing everything.
Yeah. So He's just awesome. We run over there.
This is a husband-wife.
Yes,
who are running
yes,
this whole deal.
So,
They're also trying to settle.
Get some water, get some this, get some
Not
that.
just our emergency. Everyone else is there.
Yeah.
Well, your room is over here.
Greeting people and all that
tent,
stuff.
You're in
But he immediately runs back, gets us hooked on. I think it might have been a different ball. We come over there. Hey, let me check the tires. Airs them up. Does gets a spare, puts it in there, lashes that thing down, and now we're heading to Moab. So we get to Moab. Okay, thinking through what are we going to do here. Melissa's like, I got to make a call here because we've got a grid coordinate of where the bikes are down. Now we're hearing it's 2. They're down hard. They're not making it out. 4-wheel drives won't make it there.
Right.
Like our trucks, right? Great. So she makes the call to launch this dude. We stop. They say, hey, you're not going to be able to do whatever. Just head on back and make dinner. You know, the guys, dinner comes with this 3-step, how do we camp? So we start heading back and I pull over and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not feeling it, right? We're leaving dudes in the desert. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, and then we find out who it is and it's my family. It's my brother, Steve, and it's my nephew. Right?
This is what we do.
This is what we do, right? Like I'm gonna go home and eat a steak right now. Like, come on, man. Yeah. So we're pulled over on the side of the road.
I told you we make a U-turn right now.
And I'm thinking too, like, Perry's here. He's not gonna want to go. Like I feel like I'm caught. Like I gotta go. And I'm like, he goes, "What are you thinking?"
I said, "Go back to Burger King."
He's like, "Just go back. Go back to McDonald's." Like, let's go back to McDonald's right now. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I feel like if that guy hasn't left yet, I'm gonna call him. So the Crever guy, was it Troy? Right? Troy. I think it's Troy. The Crever.
Trevor and Troy. Yeah, Troy.
Trevor. Anyways, Trevor. Was it Trevor or Trevor? No, Travis.
I think you're right.
I think Trevor. And I want to get this right, man. Anyways.
This guy was amazing. He does off-road major serious rescues.
Trevor is the guy in the next segment. So Travis.
So it's Travis.
So Travis would have been the guy. Man, I hope I'm not messing that up. So Travis with the recovery, yoked. I mean, he's got the rock crawler Jeep with a little. When I looked at it, I'm like, dude, what's this trailer? Because I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, this is like
very flimsy.
3 dirt bikes, right? It's like here, here, and here. And I look at it and I'm like, brother, have you seen these bikes? This is an adventure bike. So we get up there, and once we get, I ask him, hey, can I come with you? And so the plan is I'm going to jump in with him because it's like, hey, man, he's just one dude. He's got all this amazing equipment, and he's done this before, but you might need a hand. He's like, yeah, jump in. Cool. So I grab Everett's coat because I'm thinking desert gets cold at night. So let's grab that, throw it in there, not knowing that the emergency beacon was in his coat, not knowing that Steve's wife is watching it from home, not knowing she's seen it going back and forth all night long thinking the worst, right? So it's just in the back of the truck. But now we're heading back in there, and then he says, well, that truck will make it a ways, meaning Perry's truck. Right. And I'm like, oh, well, I'll just drive back as far as I can with this trailer, and once you wave us off, I'll jump in with you, and then we'll get into the gritty stuff, right? He's like, yeah, it's fine. Well, his fine was pretty gnarly, right? So it's like we're in there like, scraping and rubbing and finding the line and doing all that. So we get up in there pretty thick into it. Then it gets to a spot, certainly dark, and now we're going to put Perry's going to hang.
That's as far
we
as
parked. That's as far as that truck was going to go.
Right.
And he goes, this one, Lockhart Basin Pass, jump in with me, right? So I jump in there, get some stuff. We head out there. We start heading back in there, and he's like, they're in there pretty good. So
and
we're
it's
going.
Still light out.
It's still light out. We go up there, and we pick up my nephew and find him. He's at the. I go in there, and the lights, he's got a light bar. This is the dead of night, dark desert. Yeah, and it's not cold, by the way. It's actually hot, right? So we didn't even need the jacket. We're coming in there, lights, and it's just steel clinking together and all this stuff. And we come around the corner. He's sitting there, and there's just oil, and there's this bike. Right. And he's just looking like, I hope this is somebody I know. Because he has no idea. He's been sitting there for hours and hours. We pull up, and as he's staring at all these lights, he hears me, "You can't park there." And he starts smiling. He's like, I know that voice. He comes to the light and I'm like, how you doing, brother? He's like, I'm good. Scared? No, I'm not scared. I'm just, whatever. Okay, cool. Let's get you out of here. So we jump out, we load this up, and I start looking at this trailer, and it's way more robust than I thought. It's the flipped axle thing. So you got the leaf springs on top, so it's got some lift. But he had taken a steel beam and just reinforced the whole deal. And it's made for 3 dirt bikes to go rescue those dudes, or 1 adventure bike. So you can put one in the middle, lash it down. And he said, I've actually snapped the tongue and that beam when it was just steel, like the hollow steel. Yeah. So I replaced it with a beam of steel, right? And then when we leave, I'm not kidding. At some point I look up like this and I see the bike. Like we're doing this stuff, and it's a pintle hook with that the disc
Yep.
that can articulate way up here. And I'm like, man, is that thing gonna flip off the side of the? I mean, we're hugging this stuff, and it's just awesome. It's just cool. This is like good stuff.
Yeah.
But hours in, we just get that bike out. Oh, and as we're going in further, we get that bike back to you.
We got on this trailer.
We lash it on that trailer. Right. Now let's go get Steve that's further in. So as we're going in.
Oh, what about Lance saying, I don't want to just stay?
First he jumps in. He's going to help. So he goes back in with me and Steve. I mean, me and Travis to go get Steve. So we start going.
And Steve is where?
He's way in there. He's
Right.
way in there. He's hours in there. So
miles.
we're going, and it's very slow going, and we're crawling this stuff that I didn't think, it's like, I've seen rock crawlers, and I've been in them, but I'm like, man, it's night, and we got a trailer.
Now
and how are we going to get out?
And
we go up there, and I see some glint, and I'm like, oh, man, that's some gear. I go, oh, I think I see him. And he's like, man, this pin is way too early. Like, he's hours in there. And then I look again, I'm like, that's 2 people. And it's 2 dudes on Africa Twins, big Hondas, right? And when you look at their eyes, we see them, and they look like POWs, man. They're like, they're just done. They're like, and they planned on a day ride, and they're stepping off like almost as high as this table on a big 1200 trying to get off of this stuff. And one of them, their fork seals are blown. They're leaking, from the forks.
Fluid, yeah.
Their clutches are burned out, and they're just done. And I'm like, why just camp for the night? And they're like, man, people are expecting us, and they're going to call emergency. We just got to keep trying. And they're trying to broker a deal with our buddy and Travis, and like, hey, if you see me on the way out, can you rescue me too? And he's like, I got to take care of these guys first, but we'll make sure you get out of here, right? So they just keep limping along, and they were done hours ago. So we keep going in. And then Lance starts getting sick. And he's like, man, this is rocking my head. All this motion, it's slow in the back seat.
And he was exhausted.
Right. And I'm like,
this
man,
whole day for him.
This is my wife's nephew, and I'm going to leave him in the desert, but I don't really have a choice here. So I'm like, hey, if we leave, we come back, and he's not here, this was a bad decision. But he's like, this is really messing with me, and I'll be right here. I'm like, do not leave this trail. So I drop a pin. Do not leave this trail. We got to go. It'll be hours, but we'll catch you on the way back. So we leave him there. Start driving away. I'm like, man, should I leave my pistol? Like, what's going on? He's like, man, there's nothing out here that'll really mess with him and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. He's squared away, kid. I'm a young man. I don't have a problem leaving a gun, but we're already moving. So we're just going hours. We see Steve, and he's out there, same thing. What's up, brother? He lights up, and he's almost out of water. He's rationing it.
What was he wearing?
Well, thank you, Jesus. We're making a lot of noise. It's like that, hey, we're banging sticks together. Coming your way, brother. Put your chonies back on. He's hot, so he's stripped down. I know later that he's all stripped down. He's laid out in the desert because it's night. It's you, stars, and just America, right? So he's laid out there all buck. I don't know if he's buck naked or down to his skivvies, but he's laid out, right? Then he hears all that. Thankfully, gets dressed. So when we roll up, he was like, man, I didn't know if I was here all night with no gear, and he's just chilling.
And he could have handled it.
Right.
This is your brother.
Yeah, and he's a capable dude, and he's just whatever, and he's probably digging the night, except for the water thing. That had him concerned because like, you need water, and he's like, like sucking it down. So we get him loaded up, we come back, but now you get back to the grid, and I can't find Lance. I'm like, dude, what? Whatever. And we're looking. I've got my light out, and I'm like, man, this is exactly where we left him, and he's nowhere to be. So I said, be on the road. So we keep creeping along past the point, and over the ridge at more glint. On that motorcycle gear, they've got that little glint tape on there. Yeah. So I see him, and he's laying down. He's not budging. We're so loud. I'm like, man, is he dead? Like, what's happening right now? Like, what else could happen tonight? Hey, I'm yelling. I think he had his AirPods in or something. He's racked hard. So he's out, and he's just laying over there. Then finally he looks up, and he gets up like that whole, when you wait, whatever. And he's like looking for his phone. He's back. He walks over, walks back, and all stuff. Finally gets in. We roll out. And it's just grueling, long, slow drive back with those 2 vehicles.
It took forever.
It took over 10 hours, right? These guys get paid by the hour. They get paid good, and they earn every penny of it.
I'm way back with the trailer.
Yeah.
I've got Lance's bike now. And everything is just taking forever.
Yeah.
Because of the terrain and darkness.
Oh, yeah.
It's
And
dark.
when you see, and I've got videos, we'll try to, there's no way, cameras don't get the angle on steep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we'll try. I've got some, but you'll look back. A couple times I take my camera out, and you see the bike up there like that, but I just don't know that the video does it justice. Yeah. But it's just, when you look at that and people that have done it with the recovery, sir, you're a diehard fan of Matt's off-road recovery, and you've shared that with me. It's problem solving. And these guys do this, man. And he's good
they
at it.
live for this.
Yeah.
Even when they're not working, their vacation is doing the same thing.
Yeah, and you're in a spot, and you're like, brother, I got nothing. We got thousands, tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment, and I got nothing. Right. So
And
you're up.
I wasn't there, but you couldn't see a light. There wasn't a street light or a house.
No, you're in it.
You're in the middle
Yeah.
of the desert.
Desert.
Oh, yeah.
And more than likely, probably Indian reservation, maybe. I mean, very remote.
Close to that. I don't think you're in a reservation area there, but I'm not sure. But
I'm just
it's
trying to
just
paint the
so.
picture.
Oh yeah,
Barren.
it's big. I mean, it's big, nasty country. So it's not like just straight desert. It's all of this, and some of the stuff I'm like, we're going up that, and it's just like, deflate the tires, huge tires, and just in low, and you're geared for it, and you're just walking over it, and you're like, man, this is incredible.
Where my truck and the trailer stopped, and I'm walking around, I see this this Indian totem pole thing that somebody had made there, and it's covered in the ruins of people that have gone past on trails like this. There were backpacks,
Wasn't it?
things tied
Was it chickens
to it.
or something? What was going on?
Rubber chickens are hanging from it, and it was really cute to begin with. Now, after hours and hours of me looking at this thing,
It's getting spooky.
and I'm all by
talking to you.
myself, and I realize my gun's in the truck. I'm laying on the trailer. Why is my gun not on my hip? Right?
Don't put them on a totem pole. No.
I'm like,
Right, yeah.
this is a totem pole. Jason's gonna love this one. Really? It was a pole with chickens on it. You're saying it was a totem
But
pole?
it was.
It's like,
But
and it didn't have bullet holes in it before, Perry. So what's happening
yeah,
right now? You're shooting at rubber chickens at this point?
I got some pictures of it. We're going to put those pictures up.
Yeah.
Right.
So
You
it's
guys are rolling through the desert. What time do you finally get 2 trucks, 2 trailers back to the team?
we get back to town, right? And we get back. This guy's awesome, man. So Travis, he hooks us up, man. And we go back and we're like, man,
His house.
we don't even know. These bikes are done. So we drop off both bikes.
Done
I think that's
because
right. No, did we take one back?
broken oil pan.
Yeah.
No, we got both bikes. Oh, no.
So we leave him at his house.
Right. He left Steve's bike on his trailer.
Yeah.
And we just followed him. Oh, and
We put him in his house.
we asked him one thing, because now it's dark and there's really no roads. You got to just pick your way through. Could be anything.
Yeah.
We just asked him, take it slow so we don't lose him. And what'd this guy do for us?
Oh yeah, his slow is like we're barely trying to not rip the bottom of the truck off. He just knows it, so he's all the way up there. And these could be many different routes, right?
Oh, everywhere.
So yeah, so we're just like, man, is this the spot? And we're going through sand, and we're barely getting out, and we're pulling a motorcycle.
And I have in the side view door this really monster flashlight.
Yeah.
And I'm outside the passenger front window flashing anywhere so you can pick up a road or a street.
Yeah.
No, definitely don't go that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a proper mess, but it's awesome, right? So we make it through that. We get to his place. We drop off the bike. Say, we'll check you tomorrow. Let's just get back. And then we're like, man, we need food. So we. What's it called? Maverick. Like Maverick was our headquarters for all of it. It's the only thing open. We're all, man, they're going to be in the restaurants. We pull up the phones, nothing, whatever. Right when we jump on the highway, it's like, Maverick. We go in there and just get, truck stop food,
dog
garbage.
roll.
Yeah. So I got a
Sugar
picture where
glazed
we're just
donut.
chilling and people are just done. You see that you're barely awake and you're mashing orange juice in a whatever, ham and cheese croissant or like a burrito or something like that. So it's awesome. So we get back there. And now you've been running for hours and hours and hours. You're barely awake. I'm seeing stuff and all. I think I actually pulled over on that Steve drive because I was like, man, I'm not, whatever.
You did.
And he's a truck driver, like by trade. And he's like, man, whatever. Yeah. So he finished out the rest of it. We get there and guys are already up. So it's probably 6 in the morning, 5:30, 6 in the morning, something like that. And guys were waiting for us. Like we're getting word, hey, we're out. We're heading that way. We're starting food. Yeah. They're eating breakfast. We get in there and it's like, man, I'm not hungry. I just want to sleep. So we catch a couple hours and then get up and they make us breakfast. The hosts are like, hey, we got you. So come on out. We'll make some bacon and eggs. Oh, yeah.
They were wonderful,
so
wonderful
awesome.
people.
So we got to hang out with them and just chill for a little bit and then get back on the road. So we take off and then back to it.
So after a couple of days, you're down 2 bikes out of 10?
Down 2 bikes, right?
Okay. And going through resources, Everett has a 75-gallon water tank that I had in the back of the truck that we had filled up.
Yep.
And we only made it to 3-step, and we were down to almost the end of, we had a third of that down.
Yep.
I mean, we're going through lots of resources, water and food and whatever we could, and gas. And so we filled that up again.
Yeah. And I think this is the spot here. So we're on day 3 or something like that. We're leaving 3-step. We're heading to Book Cliffs. And I believe on the way to the book cliffs, this is where, it's a beautiful country. Back in desert, you're dropping down into washes where all the water comes through.
That was fun.
And you're going through all this stuff. There's a washed out road,
Yep.
right? There's a big wash where the road is just gone. So now the bikes, let's see, they find a workaround. We get your truck stuck.
Nope.
No, I'm sorry, Eric's truck, the Tacoma gets stuck. And very, very soft, it's like pudding, right? It's just washed out.
Yeah.
And then we use your truck to get it out. So you get that winch.
Yep, I had a winch.
Thankfully.
Never ever used it.
Yeah.
Didn't even know how to use it.
That's where you step
a
back.
clue.
He throws the remote to Everett, and it's like,
Yeah. Everett says, "You got the stuff for the winch?" I said, "I don't know. Well, I'll have to look." Right. Yeah. I said, "Is this it?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "All right. Everyone get out of the, what's the danger zone?"
Yeah, for a winch.
snaps.
Yeah, it's not the
we-
cable. Yeah.
I mean, it came from my truck to a tree to a post.
Yeah.
And then all the way to Everett to
Eric's
Eric's.
truck, yep.
Yeah, to Eric's truck. And that pulled that thing right out.
Yeah, so we're like, this is not going to be passable, right? So this is going to be a workaround. The bikes can go this way, but the workaround's going to go this way, and whatever. So we've got some guys, and this is funny because you reminded me. Perry's like, I don't know. Like this is what I know. I got everything we need in this truck.
Right.
Now where it's at, I don't know. Like, and as we're pulling it out, it's all brand new. Like in the bubble wrap plastic, you pull it out and tearing it out. And he's like, I got one of these. I got one of these. So he has everything.
Right.
So it's fun. And it reminded me of that time, another time on another ride when you were like, I don't know, man. Where are we in the world? He's like, I just follow Everett. Remember that? You're like, you go, I've spent a majority of my life not really knowing where I'm at. Right. I just follow a dude that knows.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Because a lot of people say to me, where'd you go? Where'd you go? The journey is the destination. Yeah. I'm the kind of person I want to suck up, even through the whole Able Shepherd program, everything. Yeah. Everyone's getting to this level, but along the way, it's awesome. Yeah. And just be around, surrounded by.
You're like, Melissa, where am I going next?
These people.
Where am I going next? You're like, 2B? 2C?
Yes,
She's like, hit me here on Tuesday.
All right. Same thing on the trips.
Yeah.
I just tuck in right in the middle.
And just
go for the ride.
Just go.
And just enjoy. Wow. Love it.
But you know what may happen, especially after your Matt's off-road recovery thing.
Yes.
And you got everything in the truck.
I buy things.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
But I mean, serious, like that winch is no joke. That's a good joke. A good winch that's mounted into your truck, into a reinforced bumper, into like quality stuff. So that saved the day, right? Barry saves the day again, much like California, which is like life and death stuff. But so getting them out. Then we route around, but before we get back on the highway, on one of our comms, I don't know if it was radios, I don't know if it was text, I don't know if it was on our GPS.
That's when we had communication.
Right. Man down. I'm like, uh-oh. So here comes the radios. Here comes all this. We have a broken collarbone in one of the washes, and they're miles in, right? Maybe a mile in. I forget.
This is somebody on a motorcycle.
Yeah, this is one of our guys, right?
Hard to ride a motorcycle with busted collarbone.
Right. So Matt comes off his bike, one of Mark's buddies, and these guys, he's new to the Able Shepherd community, and it's kind of cool because you meet guys and you're not sure what, and then all of a sudden he goes down hard, and now we need each other again, right? And he's like, who are these guys? Like, I neglected to say something that's very important. So I got my nephew with me, and one of the things is, just trying to figure out the man he wants to be, and he gets to be around this group. His bike's down hard. So we're back at 3-step. We wake up in the morning, not much sleep, maybe 2-3 hours. Wake up. I look over, and he's just laying there in his bed. And he's just like, I don't know what happens right now. My bike is done. My ride is over. I don't even know how I'm getting home. I got no game plan. A little estranged from his dad. That's another story, but it's like I don't know who to call. I don't know what to do. And then we get a ping because somebody put it, I think, on Facebook. Hey, pray for the guys. A couple bikes down. They're in Moab, blah, blah, blah. Well, here comes Ben Mann somehow piping into the comms. And he's like, I will hook a trailer up right now and come get you guys. Like those bikes, I'll get them out of there. And we're like, brother, we may take you up on that because we're in a spot right now and we're trying to figure out who goes where. He's like, say the word and I'm on the road. And he's like, who are these people? Like my nephew and what? Who's coming to Moab for 8 hours to pick up stuff with a trailer and get us home? So I have to go talk to him. What are we doing here? You got to make a decision. Like it's big boy decision time. What do you want to do? And he's like, man, I said, this is what I would like to see. You make whatever decision you want. You're 18 now. I'd like to see you finish this ride with us. I already talked to my brother. His bike's down, so he's going to go back with the trailer with Ben. He's going to come pick up the bikes. We're going to get him to Moab. Ben's going to come to Moab from Denver, get the bikes back. But I say, hey, brother, Steve, can you do me a favor? Can you get, because he's going back to Missouri. Yeah. Can you get my nephew's bike back to Kansas City? So I'm asking Steve, and can you get my nephew's bike back to Kansas City? He's like, yeah, man, I'm out of this anyways. It'd be great if he could continue on. I want him to see this. I want to see what's going on. So he gets to watch one of the Able Shepherd community dudes leave Denver, come back, pick up his motorcycle. Another dude jumps in his motorcycle, Steve, and sees his back to basically his front porch, right? And he's like, who are these people? And he gets to witness this, right? And then I say, let's I want you to come with. How about we do half days? How about you ride my bike? And I jump in with Perry, and then we switch. So half days, we're banging it out. And I know he's going to settle down on my bike because he didn't want to wreck Uncle Jim's bike, right? Right, yeah. But he rides that bike way better than I do. So if he goes down, I definitely would have went down, right? So it's like there's this thing going on. We get out there, and we're doing that. And then we have Matt go down, right? So now he's down hard. And
with the collarbone.
And that was
collarbone broken. And it
right.
It is broken. So now you've got guys that, and I'm not complaining at all. This is what we do. This is exactly why we go on these things. A guy needs you. You just met him, but now you're going to hike in for hours, and then...
Well, let's come back just a little bit.
Yeah, please.
Lessons learned. In California,
yeah,
there were a lot of injuries, and there was a lot of really hard stuff. And although my truck was able to handle anything like that, I didn't feel I had the equipment, resources, medical equipment, to be able to handle whatever it was. And so with this trip... There was and our whole program is, we need tools and equipment to make ourselves
capability, take care of
our capability. Yeah. So I turned for this trip my Raptor into not only a rescue thing, but a rescue unit, an ambulance.
Yeah.
I mean, I had IV equipment, I had oxygen, I had lots and lots of meds, and I had every trauma thing you can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
So I felt comfortable. We hear fractured clavicle. We got this, and we're off and running.
So we go. So we parked that washed out road, and now start hiking. I start hiking. He packs up a bag.
I pack him a mini bag.
He throws it on my shoulder. I'm like, okay, I got this bag, and here I go. So we start going out there, hiking for a while in motorcycle gear. These aren't hiking boots. This is motorcycle boots. Right? A lot of fun. It's hot. It's just whatever, crunch, crunch, So we get out there, and then I see Mark, and like, brother, and Matty's moving slow. He's holding this thing. They've got it rigged up with a toe strap that he had from like a little thin motorcycle toe strap.
He's in pain.
And he's moving as
as
he's pale. He's in a ton of pain, and he's moving in super slow motion. Yeah. So that's how we hike back out in super slow motion.
Right.
Hydrate, walk a little more, something to eat, walk a little more, hydrate, walk a little more, something to eat. And just nice and easy. Then we get him back. Perry starts taking care of him. We get him loaded up in the truck. He starts, he's checking him for shock chickens.
I'm in paramedic mode now.
Yeah. So now he's checking him out and going back. Well, guess where we're going? We're going back to get the motorcycle. So now me and Mark hike back in, and then I jump on his motorcycle and ride it for 3 hours to where we can get it in a position where it can get picked up on a trailer, right? So now it's back. And I'm not complaining. His bike is amazing. It's like a 690 KTM. And what had happened? He's one of the better riders in the group. He's going through those washes, and this could happen to anybody. As you're going down in there, he pumps the clutch, kicks it down into first, but it misses and goes to neutral. Right. And when he needs to hit it to get the front end back up, it's in neutral. So now it just nosedives, and off he goes and snaps it, right? So he's in extreme pain. We get him loaded up. He's going. And then he's with you heading back to Green River. Is that right?
I don't know, but I felt so bad because I've got this guy all wrapped up. I got ice packs everywhere we possibly can, but we're in the most rugged terrain possible.
It's rocks and
I'm going 2 miles an hour, and with each tiny little bump, he's like, "I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good. Swallow these Advil. Eat these. Eat these.
Bud's candy.
Just pop those again." And I felt, and it took hours and hours and hours, and I'm just like, "Oh my God, this guy."
Meanwhile, me and Mark are like, just getting after it because my bike is a tank.
Yeah.
His bike is a sports car out here. I mean, that suspension is just eating all this. I'm having a big old time, but it's 3 hours. And we're on the highway. We're doing 70, 75 miles an hour on these dirt bikes, whatever. Yeah. And it's a riot. But I get back and I'm just vibrating. I'm like, this was awesome, but it's like it was a long day. So we get him squared away. We go in there, get him fed down at the truck stop in Green River.
We get to a truck stop.
Yep. Mark shoots off to go get his truck and trailer, and their ride's over. So he's going to come pack him up, take him back, get him to the hospital, get all checked out, do all that, so get the bikes loaded up, and then go.
And I'm still in paramedic mode,
Yeah.
so my eyes are not leaving him.
Yeah.
His eyes. I'm watching. Things can go south real fast. And we got him fed. We got him all situated, nice little booth in that rest stop.
Yeah.
Mark's on his way. Everything's set. And all of a sudden you turn to me and go, okay, let's go.
Let's go.
I go, I'm not used to leaving.
A pace.
Right.
This. Yeah.
Mark's he's checking in with us, so he's got the truck. He's heading back to get him. He's sitting in like the restaurant that's connected to like a truck stop, so it's just chilling, and he's sucking down a Frosty or something. You know what I mean? He's got he's got a burger and like a bottle of Advil.
Right.
He's got like a burger in him. He's got a shake going on.
Yeah.
You know, and he's
saying, I'm good. I'm good. I'm
so
good.
I'm like, hey, we got to find our guys because we headed the other direction. So they headed north, we headed south to get him squared away. We jump back in the truck, we start heading. I look at it, I think it was wrong because it was saying hours and hours. Like, man, it's going to be like, we're going to be coming into camp at 2 a.m.
I was spent.
And then it's like, I didn't have to twist any arms. I'm like, brother, we should probably grab a burger, grab a hotel, and find those boys. He's like, done. So we've got a picture.
That was already in my head. Done. We weren't going to find them and then set up camp
in the middle of the night, and it's like you're going to be bumping around, waking everybody up, and you're going to get 3 hours of uncomfortable sleep, and then you're going to do it again.
Not the right move.
Right. So then we head out there, and I think that's the Book Cliffs, if I'm right. It's either Book Cliffs or Reservation Ridge, but I think that's right. So we go out there to the Book Cliffs and find those guys. Book Cliffs, man, whichever one it is. We go up and find them.
Well, you're right. It wasn't that far.
It's rainy. It wasn't as far as we thought. We get up in there, and then we find where they're camping, but it's rained, so everything's wet. And we're like, okay, we're in the truck. We get up there, grab everybody, bless it up, say a prayer. I go up there, and I think I shot a video over the cliffs and all that kind of stuff. And we turn, and we jump on the road, and the rain kept coming down a little bit. It didn't look bad, but the mud is just different mud, right? So the mud it's clay
like glue.
that as it comes up on a motorcycle tire, it locks it in the fender, and you're going nowhere. And then you peel it out with a stick, and there's not really ample space. You go 5 more feet, and you're doing it again.
Right.
And again and again. When that thing locks and you hit the gas, it locks solid. You lose your front wheel, and down you go, right? So it's just a nightmare. And even the trucks are just, when you would walk, you would have that much, mud, good 4 inches of mud on your shoes. Mm-hmm. Tires, same thing. It's kind of funny looking at the tires because they turn this big and this wide, and they're rolling, and it looks like a tank tread. So that just starts going from bad to worse. And then we get in a spot where it's so bad we're not going anywhere. Like you hit the gas and the truck slides sideways off the crowned road. Yeah. And we're like, okay, let's wait this out and see what happens. And then it just keeps raining. So we spent, day and a half?
Yeah, almost
day and a half, dead in the water,
yeah.
Where you've got hills on this side, and we're going nowhere. Right. So it's like under a tarp. You know when it's like you got one tarp and a bunch of people? And it's not enough, so you're interlocking legs. It's like, hey, put your knee that way and my knee that way, and then you're sucking it. You got like your food going, and you're heating up your meals, your peak meals, and you're eating, and you're like, so now what do we do?
Now what?
I guess sit here and look at each other for 4 more hours, and that's what we did. And then we camped, and we try to go get, even some of the bikes, we can't get them down. Like they're kind of spread out.
Away.
No, you can see it up on the ridge, but it's like we can't get that bike down here right now without hours and hours. Let's just leave it here. Let's go have camp. We can see it. No kidding. We're sitting there that night. I think it was that night, and we hear something clink, 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 clink. Like cars are coming by and they're getting stuck and they're turning around.
Locals.
There are side-by-sides, like the ones that are nimble that can do all this. Yeah. They try to get up the hill. Can't get it. So they turn around. We're not going that way, right? And as we're sitting there, we hear this clank, 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 clank. And I'm like, I'm not even turning around because we're just sitting there cold like this. And I hear it behind me. And Everett looks over my shoulder. I go, what is it? He's like, it's a truck. I'm like, what? It's like a full-size truck pulling a loaded trailer. I'm like, how is this possible? And I look, what? And I look back, and he's coming by, and we got to go and move Eric's truck a little bit to get him by. And he's just got chains on the back. And he's got 2 machines, like a what do you call them? ATV kind of things.
4x4 ATV.
Yeah.
On the trailers.
On the trailers. And he's just chugging along. I'm like, what the? His chains are big, thick chains, and they're going through the nastiness and just grabbing hard pack. So he starts going up there, and we're like, man, I don't think he's going to make it. So he goes up there, spins out, can't make it. So we go up there and help him. We help him unload his ATVs. And with the ATVs off, he's got kids with him. He's got a dog with him. He's got a wife. He's heading up to hunting camp. With all that off there, he wants to unload the trailer and leave it right there in the road. And I'm like, man, I think maybe without the load, you might be able to make it out of there. So he tries it, gets it on there. He's dog tracking sideways, mashing it, throwing mud everywhere. That trailer's off into the sticks, just ripping down branches, but he makes it. And then I jump on his machine. His wife jumps on one, takes off to camp. I jump on the other one and follow him. So now we just sit here and go like this all the way up and then get him to camp.
You made a friend.
Made a friend. And this is Trevor.
Trevor.
And Trevor is awesome.
He
And Trevor's
really
like, they got a joke. He goes, if this had been my family, there's a joke up here because we know about the mud. The newcomers don't know about the mud. They pull over and they look at you and they go, did you bring chains? And you go, no. They go, next time bring chains. And they hit the gas, right? And he goes, that's normally what happened. But as we're talking and I'm helping with his ATV and all that kind of stuff, I tell him about this thing. He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, whatever, from Denver, and I got here late and blah, 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 and I had to stand for this thing. He's like, what a thing. Well, there was this what do you call it, drag show thing, and it was in front of kids. And he's like, whoa, hold on a second. What is it? And all this stuff. And then he's like, man, if you're standing for our kids, I got you. Like, I'll get you out of here, whatever. So we drive all the way up there to camp. I don't think so. I don't remember. We get all the way up there. He pulls off his chains that he needs to get home, by the way, loads them up and runs me back down there. And that's when we start formulating the plan. Hey, tomorrow morning, if this is the plan going to bed. If you hear rain, don't wake up. Don't just sleep in, right? If you don't hear rain all night, it might be dry enough for us to make it out of here. But if you hear rain, no need. Keep chilling, right? Rained all night. So we're like, So the bikes aren't making it out, but now we got his chains, which are the linchpin to, like, if we can get those on one vehicle, Eric's, right?
Right.
So we put on Eric's to get out to the road. That gives us town. That means maybe more chains, and we can come back and do a rescue, maybe even a rental trailer, and then get people. So we go out. Everett makes it kind of far out there behind us on his bike, blows a tire. Oh, no. And now he's sitting there like, brother, we're going to make a shot for town to see if we can get some kind of rescue effort going. He sits there and changes his tire in thick mud. He's got to run it down to the creek and wash it out. It's all full on the inside. And
he's got skills.
He got it done. We make it to town, nothing, right? Except for some breakfast, right? We get some coffee in us and all that. They're like, the next town down, whatever. So we go to the next town down. We find an O'Reilly Auto Parts. They do sell chains. We could buy some chains. We do find a rental trailer place at Murdoch's or something like that. And now it's hours away.
I was back with
right. This is Eric and I. Yep. We turn back and we go back and launch this rescue effort to just shuttling motorcycles out one at a time. By the time we get back, the guys were attempting to get out and burned out their clutches. So now you got, how many bikes are down then? 3, 2 more. But now we got a trailer. Right. One of them, Elliot's, is still rolling, but we're losing it.
Yep, Elliot's was still going.
Everett not only blew a tire, but his clutch is gone. Yeah. But there's a little meat left in it, so he tries to make a shot for his buddy's house, which is now our new end place. We were supposed to go all the way up. We didn't complete the BDR, meaning going up and touching the northern border of Utah. Yeah. So now we were going to go up and hit the northern border and then come back to his buddy's house. It's a little further south, like Salt Lake City area. I forget what town it's called. Got the trailer, loaded up best we can. We start leaving, and
when we borrowed, we still borrowed the other chains. Remember
yeah. So we get the chains, and it works out with Trevor to where he says, use my chains, but if you guys make it out, where are you going to leave them? So we designate this spot. Literally, it's next to a post in the grass.
A rock.
Pull my chains. I need these here to get home, so I'll come down on my ATV and I'll check in the morning. And if you guys aren't here, I'll know the chains are there. And if you're still here, then
if they're not there, I'll find you.
Yeah. He's like, I'll find you. And then he was like, and he was going, I'm a hunter, and I know how to shoot. And he's like, wait a minute, you're a SEAL, you know how to shoot. Okay, that didn't work. But anyways, so we just work it out. But just the fact that this dude would trust some strangers, right? To if we don't return his chains, he's got a whole family up there, and it rained that entire time. Yeah. But anyways, just a good dude that saw us in a spot and set up.
We only had two chains. So we did my left front and my right rear.
Yep. And then we bought 4 for Eric's. So Eric's was fully chained up in the Tacoma. And then we had that on yours, and we used the trailer to just shuttle everybody down to the road. And anybody with any clutch left at all made a shot for it, but then burned out their clutches. Yeah. So now we've got the borrowed.
At least 4 bikes. And one rider.
Right. And then, we get to our destination. I forget the name of the town. We're getting up there. Now it's civilization. Now it's all this. And we're cruising at 75 miles an hour on the interstate. And Elliot's clutch goes out, like next to a bus.
Oh, but wait, you told me this story. He was making a pass or going up a hill or
He's
something?
on the interstate passing a bus, and his clutch goes out. Yeah. So now he's got no power, and he's losing velocity quick.
Going uphill.
Yeah, going uphill, hitting the blinker to try to get off the interstate, right? Makes it off. We just leave it because we're so close to the destination.
We launch a pin. You lock down a pin.
Lock a pin, pop a grid,
Right.
get in the truck, let's finish. So we can unload the trailer to turn around and go get your bike. And it's like, by that time, everybody's just done. So we get out there, get to this place. And when I say we're staying in a garage, it's not
Oh my God.
but Everett's buddy, this garage is like, I think there might have been a sauna in there and there's a workout room in there. This is the garage, right? So the house is what it is.
Man cave.
Man cave. It's gorgeous. There's motocycles and there's cars in there. There's upstairs loft.
buildings.
There's all this stuff. There's cooking steaks. They're doing all this stuff. But immediately we get in there, I'm like, hey man, let's do it right now. Lance,
Don't get comfortable.
Everett, let's just jump back in the truck and we get this plan going. I mean, it looked like we were stealing that bike. So as we knew where it was at.
Yeah.
So when we stop, it's dangerous to be on the side of the road. When we stop, I mean, as soon as I hit the brakes, it's out, it's open, it's get it on the thing, it's lock it down, and we're back off the road. So we pick that thing up and just snatch it off the interstate like that. Get back.
Oh, this is a funny
And as we're
story.
pulling back in, and I see something way up ahead, and I see a little blue glint on this truck, and I go, man, that looks like it's pulling into where we're headed.
Right.
And I go, man, that'd be funny if that was the cops.
Yeah.
We start pulling up. It's the cops. And he's pulling in. We see our boys down there, our whole crew, Shelly and the guys. We see them all down there, but he's tucked into the shadows looking like he's peeking around the corner. And I go, watch this. Yeah. He's not going to like it when our lights hit him because he's between, right? Yeah. You don't want to be in a spot where you just got called.
We just boxed him in.
And he's boxed in. So those lights come around. And he's like, oh, and he's scrambling to get in his car, and he's doing all this stuff. And he starts walking up, and I turn the dome light on so he can see. Hey, how's it going? He starts walking over. He's being all alert. Yeah, I had an alarm go off. And I'm like, I call Everett, and I'm like, hey, this is funny. I'm on speakerphone. Hey, brother, I got the police out here. They had an alarm go off. And he goes, hey, man, be there in a minute. I'm pulling asparagus. I'm pulling asparagus off the grill. I'm like, I think he needs you right now, right?
Yeah.
So Everett... He comes over, and what had happened is that he was looking for like a spice or something. His buddy was like, hey, stay there and have fun, do the man cave, do whatever. Like, that's all we need. We got cots, we got beds, we got all this other stuff. But he went in to get something out of the house, but the cleaning lady didn't get the memo, so she armed the alarm, right, because they're out of town. So here comes the cops. Fast forward about 5 minutes, the cop's eating steak. We're hanging out. He's got asparagus. He gets a call for a domestic, and I'm like, take it with you. He's like, because first I'm like, hey, brother, can we get you a plate? And he's like, nah, I'm like, brother, it's, what was it called? Something, burn-ins or something like that? Yeah, it was phenomenal. Next thing you know, he's got a plate. He's mashing it. Then he gets a call and he has to go. I'm like, take it.
And
with
he's
you.
more curious. Like, tell me again about
what you guys doing, and the BDR and the motorcycles, all that stuff. So we got everybody like a good night's sleep. We're cleaning gear. We're doing all this.
Before
kind of stuff.
that,
yes, sir.
What did we have to do to get some dirt off us? In there, we were so looking forward to get into this place, get a nice hot shower. Just clean ourselves off.
Picture
and we
like
finally,
the Bud's hose. Like,
I don't even remember.
You're going to remember this. And as we're getting back in, Everett comes over. He goes, the hot water heater is not working.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for the shower, you mean?
This is cold country. So it's almost like freezing water coming out. And I was like, I'm not showering. And then little by little, we really needed a shower. And you hear the stories of each person. Well, I got in there. I put my foot in. And they went through the whole story. And I went through mine in there. And I was so tired. I just went, what could happen? And go right underneath it. And it came out.
It's like the chili dips, man. Like it's like if we were passing water, we're in it.
And it was
just,
right.
Awesome. And everybody does. It's like you turn like 10 years old. Everybody's giddy and laughing. And all that kind of stuff.
Oh my God.
So people we're going to part ways now, and people are going to head this way and that and all that stuff. So we're thinking, man, this has just been one for the books. We got guys going to the hospital. We got this and that. We got everything policed up, and we're getting loaded up.
Some people are going to go home, but one or two are going to touch the border, aren't they?
Right. So Jason is heading north because he's heading up to Montana. So he's heading up to finish, and hit the Utah border, and then head on to Montana. And then we've got two groups that are kind of heading back via highway. I think we grabbed a bite to eat, and then we're jumping on the highway, and then off we go. For the record, The only bikes that were still running were the BMWs. Just saying. It still had clutches left. That
And it's important to know, when Everett replaced his clutch, it's BMW components.
So I know he told me
read that
that. He
email.
told me that, yeah. So the guys that bleed orange, and those bikes are just unbelievable. But it is weird that all the clutches burned out, except for Matt's. Matt obviously came off his bike and bust his collarbone.
Well, they were on those
his was
clutches
still
so
running.
hard.
Matt's was still running. He has a Husky. So he's got a Husky and he's got that, but they had a medical emergency that took them out. And then out of the 10 bikes, the 2 BMWs drove home. So I was on my bike and then I switched out. We're thinking, we're done. Let's just go home. So we're on the highway. It's beautiful. We're doing all this. We're on the open highway, and all of a sudden there's a traffic jam. And I look up ahead, and it is a large horse trailer that is flipped, and it's on its side blocking the entire interstate. And I'm not like an ambulance chaser, but when you look up, a lot of times when these things happen, these are just people. There was a trooper up there. There was not an ambulance yet, any of that, but he had gotten there, and there's horses out there. Right, and I'm on a motorcycle, so I'm gonna go check this out. The other group was ahead of us, so it's your truck, right?
I'm in the back with you.
You're
Everett's ahead.
right. Everett and that group is up there, so I think it's you, Reggie, and Lance, and Mom on my bike.
Yes.
Right. So I jump off on the shoulder. Yeah. I zip up there, and it's funny when I'm like, trooper, and he's like he's in trouble. He's like, oh yes sir. I'm like, hey, is there anything I can do? Do you guys need a hand here? Because there's just mayhem. There's blood and there's horses and they're shredded, and then this thing's on its side. There's blood everywhere. This thing's on its side. It's literally blocking the entire road.
How many horses were in
and
that
the
trailer,
Cowboys
would you
there? Man, I'm guessing 6.
That's a lot of horses.
And the guy, one of the Cowboys comes over, or the ladies actually, and she goes, "Hey, there's a big horse show that just let out. This highway is full of horses. Can you find us a trailer? These horses really need care to get to that." And some of them are like, "Man, these horses aren't make it." So I zip back and I'm just going down the other side of the shoulder, and I find a guy, and I'm like, "Hey," and it's him and his wife, and I go, "Do you have there's an emergency. There's some horses hurt bad. Can we use your trailer to get some down the road to town to get them to the the veterinary hospital?" And the guy's kind of like, "Well, mine's just loaded." And I was like, "Man, we got plenty of hands. We can unload it, and and can we tie them off and just use the trailer to get them there, and then come back and get yours?" "Well, it's kind of packed, And the woman's like, "Let's go. Come on, let's help these people."
They love horses.
So I'm like, "Follow me," and so they follow me off the side of the road, and we're on the shoulder. We zip up there. The plan is to pull them all off. I call back to you and I'm like, "Hey, give me Lance and Reggie, get up here and see what we're." Because at first the Cowboys, they're all saying, "Let's do this. Let's pull them all off." I was like, "I've worked with horses. I'm not by any means an expert, whatever, but I've worked with horses and all that. Mountain guide, whatever. We can help you tie them off and stay with you until we get the trailer back." Yeah, let's do that. But then it changes because I think one of the owners showed up, and then the vet from the local town came, and then you can see when they pull the horses in, and they're like, "Hey, take that one first," but they're putting it in the trailer so they can, so that thing goes in, and you see the vet walking over with that big old syringe. He's trying to hide it. It's just an ugly scene, and you got young cowgirls that are hysterical because they're bawling because this is their best friend kind of thing. Yeah, this is their horse, and it's just nasty. So the wrecker's coming.
There was a picture that circulated very quickly of how bad that back left.
Yeah. That just it's horrible.
It was bad.
So all that gets kind of taken care of. You guys were still stuck, and I'm like, "Hey, is there anything else I can do?" No. And I was like, "My code, go ahead." And they're like, "Yeah, go ahead." And the wrecker comes, it's trying to pull it all the way. So I just beeline and start going. Now thunderstorms start rolling in. Of course. And it just starts. So we pull over, we grab some more gas. We're almost there. My nephew wants to ride, and I'm like, "Man, do I want to put him on there?" And it's like, "I should probably ride." He's like, "Oh, Uncle Jim, I can do." So he rides for a while, and we roll eventually back into Denver in the rain, right? And then
and when I radioed ahead to Everett and told him, he didn't even know the horse.
Yeah.
The trailer had flipped over, and he goes, "Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, what else could happen?" I said, "I'm picturing pulling into my house and seeing a small Cessna
crashed into the roof, right?
In my roof."
So anyways, this has been a long one. It's been good reliving all this stuff with you, but it was just, as I tell people about this, I tell them, guy broke his collarbone. We had bikes down in Moab. I've never worked with
another dislocated shoulder too.
What's that?
We had
Whose was that?
Reggie.
He dislocated it?
The other one. He did
the
first.
one from the other ride, from the opposite of California?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, just
Now
injury.
he's balanced.
We got people going off to surgery. We got injuries. We got bikes down. We got rain. We got horses. We got all of this that the police interact and all that kind of stuff. And I say, in a word, it was awesome.
Right.
Because we needed each other. And I say, it's one thing to say, take care of one another. It's another thing to have to prove it daily when you're not comfortable. You're just tired and you're cold, wet, and miserable, and people are cranky and all that stuff. And it's like, hey, man, we don't have a choice, man. I need you. And then, talking to Matt, the broken collarbone in there, he's like, I get it. I get it. This whole community thing, it's impressive. Like, thank you.
He's ready to jump right back on.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm all in,
Yeah. It's like, I just met you guys.
And you guys are awesome.
This is cool, man.
Yeah.
This is cool. And he put together, like, I don't know if he was just doing it then, but a little musical kind of thing on, what is it? I don't even know what it is, Instagram or something like that.
Yeah.
Set to music and some of the ride stuff. And it was just, it's good stuff.
Well,
Super
and one
cool.
thing I've heard through the years, you describe, what is it? This is an action adventure.
Yeah.
This is my story. And
Yes.
there's a component of this where you have to get out there and do it.
Yeah.
You have to live it. And you know what? Unfortunately, equipment will fail and bodies will break.
Yeah.
And you have a team there to support you.
Yeah.
Right? And every trip we've gone on, there's been examples. And to your point, the guys come back different.
Absolutely.
They now want to be a part of this no matter what. Going forward, I'm in. I'm all for
Yeah.
this. We get it. We see it every day.
Right.
The outsiders that come in and it's new to them is life-changing.
Yeah.
Now,
And
they come back men. They come back stronger men, curious men, better, and they want to seek out, what else can I do?
Yeah.
What can I want to be part of that? It's like Abel Shepherd. Someone comes in, well, I've done this, I've done that. Well, it should be easy then. Show me.
Show me. Yeah. And then all of a sudden the facades start coming off, the masks start coming off. I'm like, bro, what do you got, man? What are you going to contribute? Well, I've done this for awesome. Show me.
Show me.
And that's awesome to bring up because, for this is the first one. We've always had like an agreement, like a covenant agreement, but I put it on paper on this one. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Before we left,
this is important.
it was a big deal. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna. This is something that we just need to be clear. I struggle with clarity, like in the business and everything else, because I just assume too much. So I put it on paper, and we have some pushback. People are like, and the covenant would say something like this, and it's not going to be verbatim, but politics and religion, we can talk about those, but we're going to be respectful. Like, don't yell at me. I got to talk too, and vice versa. We can go around and figure this stuff out. I love that, right? Good conversation. Alcohol, don't want to see you drunk, man. I don't see you under the influence. If my kid's here, negative, and I don't really care to be around some babbling, whatever. You want to have a good time, cool, but this is not what this is about. You can drink responsibly and handle yourself. And there's emergencies, man. Like overseas, when in a protective capacity, I didn't drink overseas. Some guys did, and they got loaded. Yeah. Man, you don't get a pick when there's an emergency, and I need to be ready. And then the language, I don't care to hear it. Right, manage your language.
And there was kickback.
Right. Well, it was like I thought this was just about dudes riding up in the bikes in the mountains, and I go, you thought wrong, because that's just true. It's like, and at the bottom I put, you don't have to sign this. You showing up says you agree, because I put a lot of time and energy and money into this, and so did other people. And this isn't a frat party, right? Because what they don't know behind the scenes is that there's health issues that are serious, and that one of our brothers knew that he'd be burying his wife soon, and when he got home, he did. Right, and that my nephew is starving to find the man that he wants to be. Right, so if I present a bunch of knuckleheads that are out for a frat party, he might take that option, right? Because he's an amazing young man that doesn't drink, and he's just choosing a better path that I didn't even know was a thing at his age, right? And I respect that. And if he fumbles the ball because of something I presented, then that's on me, right? So along the way, when people go, I get it.
Yep.
I get it.
And that happened.
That
Yep.
Got you. I appreciate
two
that thing
people
going
in particular,
on.
I won't say their names, but they did push back at the beginning, and at the end were, now I got it.
Right.
I understand.
Right. And
you
that's,
guys are right.
It's like,
when we were called to go, boom, we were up, gone, done. Get the job done.
Yeah, and that's a thing that must be modeled. You can't talk about it.
Right.
You can't talk about like, oh yeah, I'd go. Okay, cool, man, show me. Right, and that's the thing. I can't make anybody do anything. This is where I'm going, and you're invited. I'm heading towards healthy.
Yep.
At least my version of it, and you're invited.
Yep.
And people seem to come, and it's all you. We know this before we leave. I don't know what's going to happen. I just know it's going to be awesome.
gonna
It's just going to be awesome, right?
Right.
Like if we.
That's why I keep buying more stuff, because I have no idea what's going to happen.
Well, and many times we've gone out and said exactly that. It's going to be, everybody's going to come back better. I go, guys, at California, I said, guys, with the language, when that got kind of, I was like, guys, the only, where this is a failure is if I come back to my home a worse off than I left. Like if I come back a worse man, like a weaker man, like because I hear all the language and then that stuff gets caustic and then one slips out of my mouth. Because I'm not, like whatever, I just left that a long time ago and now it's caustic, it's offensive to hear. So I don't do it, right? Even getting injured or even killed, I wouldn't call it a failure. That would be a failure. If I came back a lesser man to my home, it's failure. Right? Not going to happen.
I think your mission of pursue the hearts of men through adventure, they don't even know what that really means.
Right.
But all of a sudden it did sink in.
Yeah.
Their heart did grow to a different point where it was like, wow, I get it.
Well, guys won't go. If I said, hey, guys, 10 of you, let's go. I'm going to counseling. You're like, wah, 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 whatever. Maybe you need it, maybe you don't, but just that. But you'll go on this. You call it whatever you want.
Yeah,
you came back better.
Absolutely.
Right? With a new perspective. I remember you walking up a set of stairs and going, I had a moment. Something just happened.
So much better than counseling sessions I've had in the past.
right?
Yeah.
And it's just honest, right? So you guys have been there for those campfire discussions, and they get real, right? And then as they thin out and people go into bed and it's less and less, they get more real, right? Or the conversation on the way to the car after class. That's where the real stuff happens, right? But you got to earn that conversation, And where do you earn it? You're not there.
Well, we've been doing this, 6 years now?
Man, I don't even know, brother.
6, 7 years we've
Something
been
like
together.
that.
And just get tighter and tighter and tighter. I pick up the phone. I got to talk to somebody. You guys are there.
He's like, tell me where to be. Yeah. And then that extends back here, and people are like, what do you got going on? And it breaks my heart that people don't have that. To have people that truly, we have people in this community. Yeah. I didn't have one friend, one good man to talk to. And I'm like, man, that's unfortunate. Now you got 268 or whatever it is, So like it's really good to invite people into that. All right. Wow. Drinking it in. Any final thoughts? We just kind of wrap it up with anything that pops into your head to bring it home.
I just think this has naturally evolved. What's it called on its own?
Organically,
right. I think remember we used to have these long conversations, you and I. We'd sit and have dinner. It's going to snowed out. We can't drive away.
Do 511 events.
All these times.
Always be ready.
Just time to just like pick each other's brains. And we always came to the same conclusion of, how about if we just do the next right thing? Just do the next right thing, and let's go. And more and more people, we'll make a little tweak. We'll make a little turn, and we're going to have a standard. And I think having that standard is what sets us aside from so many others.
Decency,
the standard of decency, of capability, of this, and the people that don't fall in this category for one reason or the other, not to be that they're wrong or right, they leave. They just don't feel comfortable here. But more and more people are like, sign me up.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I'm definitely going to get this in because my son Jacob, who you guys know, actually made Able Shepherd 156. Yep, 156.
156?
I mean, 256.
250, yeah.
256. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jake kind of saw me going through this, which I've definitely grown and evolved and matured in these 6+ years that we've done that, and it's rubbed off to where I want to be like Dad.
And that health thing that you shared with me about what it did for your,
amazing. Yeah. I mean,
that's good stuff, man.
I've literally, miraculously had healings.
Yeah.
And, well, as a chiropractor, their body heals itself, if given the right surroundings, circumstances, food, nutrition, exercise, vision, hope, future, healing. That's what healing is. Not dumping drugs and things.
Yeah.
They give it that. Sometimes that's needed.
Yeah.
Not most of the time.
Yeah.
And I've got a couple of doctors right now baffled at why I'm really, really good right
Like, don't want to know what you're doing, just keep doing it. That's what you told me.
Yes,
They were like,
yes.
I didn't want to know, Perry, but keep doing it. Right?
I've got, people do it saying that to me.
And you guys have each got to live through this, but I haven't yet. I long for the day when I get to go through that shoot house with my children. Right?
That's fine.
With both male and female.
Yeah.
But when Christian Graham, when Rebecca, then Sarah, then Christian and Eden get to do that thing with precision, I can't wait. When they get to operate a rifle and a pistol like an extension of their body with Dad in unison doing that dance.
I got chills thinking about Rebecca saying on me.
Oh man,
There's no
she's
doubt.
ready.
You're
She's
on.
so ready.
wow.
She's like, hey, let's do this. And Christian's like, I'm going to be the youngest. I'm like, you probably will be actually, right? And they're like, when do we start training? I'm like, you started training when you were 4, right? So those games we've played and all that, you're going to see it come out, right? And they're going to figure out the timing and all that. But it reminds me, I just can't wait. My final thought is, happy birthday, brother. Is that tomorrow?
Oh my God, yep,
Is it tomorrow? So happy birthday.
Tomorrow, November, yeah.
I can't believe it's been this long to get kind of one of the icons of Abel Shepherd in here. People have said that 2 greatest days in Abel Shepherd is the day that Perry Saul passed and the day that Jimmy Graham failed. Remember that?
Oh yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yep.
As a recap, it took me forever. I held the most number of failed Abel Shepherd testing attempts,
And you stayed with it, brother.
and there was zero chance I was going to quit. And people said to me, "Why do you keep doing this?" I said, "I need to do something really, really hard that I know I can do."
Yep.
I've done many, many hard things in the past. I'm a little older now. And I wanted to do one more really hard thing, so I was not quitting. And this team rallied behind me. Yep. So as I, again and again and again, and when I finally passed and made it through all the shooting, all the entries, everything, the roof roared.
Oh, there was cheering. There were tears. I think there was a speech.
There was there was everything. Yeah. So that was. I think that was a whole Abel Shepherd unbelievable memory milestone in there. And then with you, which Jimmy is in my respect level on there, way up there. And the more we got to know each other, I mean, he is so sincere, and he's the guy of honor, dignity, integrity, do the right thing. Grahams don't
lie, cheat, or steal.
Steal, cheat, or litter.
Litter.
It was incredible. And Jimmy is testing for his green patch, and which would have smoked through it anyway. And he went through everything, smoked it, went through his entries, and we're roaring and laughing, clapping. Green patch Jimmy, our leader, fearful leader, and all of a sudden he walks down and he stops us.
Bolt lock.
And he goes, I had to DQ myself. Like, why? He goes, I had a bolt lock. I had an empty gun in my hand. I didn't transition, whatever it was. And
No instructors caught it.
And no one caught it.
I didn't catch it.
He easily could have just walked out that door and handed a green patch, but that's not who you are.
I went to unload my AR and I pulled the mag out and the bolt was locked back, and I go, I don't remember transitioning to my pistol, which means I was carrying a dead gun just to leave the room. But that's a DQ. That's a DQ.
What type
status.
of integrity is that? You know, that's the real thing.
You know what really
where-
impresses me is that people have done that since.
I know.
That's cool.
Yes.
Right? People have said, like, you know what?
Whatever you want us to
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
And it was like, this is like, I don't
exactly
want,
right.
and I don't want this win. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, that's the standard, and I don't want knowing it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I can't pass.
That's do the next right thing, and you've become a model. Many, many others, you started this whole band, and many, many models are now just leading
So
more
good.
and more and more people. And we're loving it.
Appreciate it.
This world's becoming a safer place with us in it.
That's right. That's right. Say that you can go on a computer right now and pull up some kind of website that shows red dots that are danger all over the country.
It's getting more and
I say
more.
we're creating green dots. You won't be able to track them, at least for now. Government probably can, but I mean, to where this is a safer space because we're in it.
Yes.
So if we're in it, you're in, I'll say Black Rock Coffee that's over by my house, Black Rock Coffee. If I walk in, it just became safer. Nobody will ever know it. They don't need to. But that's the deal. That used to be a thing.
And even people that peek in on our adventures, on our training or things like that, you don't know what they're taking away from.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you these little seedlings are getting laid all over the place where, yeah, I did see something that I like.
All right, got this one in the books. BK, any alibis?
I got 2. Well, 3. Thank you. Rules of 3. You're awesome at what you do. Love
Thank
being
you.
around you.
Love you.
So happy for both of you that a motorcycle did not get struck by lightning and melted into an iron core.
That was on a different ride, not our group.
And then reaching out into the cameras, I would encourage you, you hear these stories a bunch. There's no magic.
Right.
One person took a lead, said, I'm going, you follow.
Yeah.
Do this. Get out there, make your own adventures, write your own story, be a part of life. However, if you want to join some really good guys, and do it. I know the people.
I know a guy.
Yeah.
RideBDR.com is the resource to learn more about the BDRs and this amazing community that it's not my bus. I just get to drive it for now. AbleShepherd.com. AbleShepherd. If you want to learn about the business, check out the website. If you want to learn about the heart of this community, go to the YouTube channel. Because these, one, it's the podcast talking about all this stuff, but on that one, with the children, with these guys, doing all these things, and then, we put some money into editing so we can model to the world, hey, this isn't a, eke by kind of thing. Have life and live it to the full. So that's what we want to do. We're going that direction. You're invited. So this one's in the books. Thank you, Perry Saul. Happy birthday tomorrow, my brother. I love you.
Love you.
So glad you got to join us on one of these. And to all of you at home, we love each and every one of you. God bless you. Take care of one another.